So the Penfold Audi safety car will peel off. Tony Quinn on the right of screen in the Aston Martin DBR S9. Clark Quinn alongside in the Mosler, father and son.
Yeah, that's unique,
I've got a funny feeling that father might take precedence at turn 1 here because he owns these things.
Yeah, well, if I was the son, I'd be trying to get in front, that's for sure.
Now, we're missing Greg Crick. The Viper is not in its gap on the grid. He was supposed to start from 4th, so nevertheless, this race, it is a timed race as we get it underway. The power of the Aston Martin will take us to turn 1. Look for the Audi. There it is, Mark Eddy, the former champion in the only type of that car in this country. Oh, we've lost one in the background. A Mosler around. Ash Samadi, Michael Locasano in the Porsche. Both have not made it through turn 1.
Bit of damage on the left rear.
Tony Quinn getting away. The Aston Martin out in front. David Wall settling into 3rd. And the thing has been in the past, David, this category has had, it's pretty much been a pile of Porsches, but the mix is very, very good.
It is, and it's good close racing. So obviously the rules packages that they have that dictate the speeds is obviously working, you know.
A quick look there with Dean Grant on board the Mosler, which a lot of our viewers might be wondering, what the hell is a Mosler? Not exactly the sort of car that you'd go down the showroom and buy in Melbourne or Sydney.
I haven't seen too many on the road, no. We see them in England, actually. We do see the Mosler in the UK racing in the GT categories.
Tony Quinn out in front. Of course, this series runs to the GT3 rule book, which is obviously there's GT1, which is a world championship this year, and then there's the prototype sports cars that you drive in the ALMS and also in Le Mans. There's Samadi. The Mosler has not made it up Mountain Straight. So back to the front, and the Porsches are really starting to close in. They're just the all-round car, the Porsche GT3, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, I did the Bathurst 24 in a Porsche round here, and it's such a great car. Well, we got one stopped up here.
Oh, Tony Alford, the Nissan GTR, which has actually had problems this weekend. They blew the engine and took it back to Sydney, but I think he's done a bit more than just engine damage there.
Yeah, it's not the best place to be stopping, I can tell you.
That's blind.
That is totally blind through there. I'll have to get the safety car out pretty quick.
Tony Quinn leading the way indeed. That's what the race director has decided. Our timing screens turn yellow, so the safety car will come out, but that hasn't stopped.
He hasn't seen it.
James Kanduris launching a move. Now he does.
Yeah.
So he backs right out of there. Of course, no overtaking under yellow flags. So all that work that Tony Quinn did, absolutely worth nothing.
Oh, that's the nature of racing these days. Oh, here we go. Big lock up.
Oh, and that was
a couple of Porsches getting together.
There was a squeeze behind there. And it was all set off really from the Mosler locking up. Here we go, another angle.
Yeah, a couple of the guys behind were rushing in there too, a little bit too quick. And you see the Porsche here's gone down the inside, bang. It's just pushed everyone in together.
And that was
number 19, is it?
Yeah, that's Michael Locasano there. A couple of our GT Challenge cars. And this is not looking good for the Viper of Richard Kimber, who's coming back into the championship as the Penfold Audi Sports Safety Car pulls off and into pit lane. We go back to green flag racing, this time by Clark Quinn second in the Mosler. David Wall, the reigning champ in the Porsche, who will start in the 1000k race tomorrow. He'll be with Carl Reindler in the Fair Income Sheds Commodore. But it's all about different noises, different cars, different engines, different drive lines. Something for everyone, really, David Bradman.
Oh, no, absolutely, because, you know, not everyone likes the same thing, do they? So they've got to, you know, they look at a car like the Audi or the Lamborghini or the Aston Martin. You know, they look at that, and a lot of people might look at that and go, I want one of those one day, you know.
I want one. I don't think I'll ever get one, though, just quietly. Have a look at this for second, third, fourth and fifth. Up the
Dive
inside.
on the inside. Yeah.
Oh, Max Twigg.
It's good racing.
James Kanduris gave him the room there.
Yeah, it did. I mean, if he didn't, he would have been in the wall.
The Aston's just got the legs early in the run. Tony Quinn was really fast here last year in that car, but couldn't quite string it together. We jump on board with Dean Grant in the Mosler, and if you think it sounds like a Chev, pretty much because it is.
Yeah, because it is. Yeah, absolutely. Big American muscle.
In a very sleek body, though. David Wall all over the back of Clark Quinn. Gets the run towards McPhillamy Park.
Oh, that's not optimistic.
That's not a place to go on through.
He's fast, though. You can see he just wants to get past car in front and then start catching the leader.
The Aston really does have it up and down the mountain, where the V12 has got so much run. You know so much about these cars. You race a GT1 version and one at Le Mans. This is the GT3 version, not quite as fast, not quite as powerful, but it's got the same feel, the same sound. It's very
got
distinctive.
the same DNA.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
it's and you can see it stretches its legs. But having said that, they're not all over him across the top of the mountain either. So obviously the handling of the car is not bad.
Great shot down Conrod into the chase. So it's a Clark, Quinn, Tony Quinn, 1-2 at the moment. David Wall, that Porsche, when it comes to a Porsche, you can just count on it each and every time.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the Porsche's been racing around for a long, long time. They really do have their act together, and you know, any customer comes along and buys one of those, knows what you're getting. It's a very good product.
Right behind Clark Quinn at the end of lap 4. Fastest lap of the race is in fact James Konduras, who's just behind. There he is on the right of screen, 2:16.46. These cars have run faster than that this weekend, but he's gaining. He's definitely closing in. So it's really a fight for second at the moment on the run back up Petters Mountain Straight.
It's a great shot. He's getting a bit of a toe there, isn't he?
But he's on the wrong side, though.
No.
And David Wall hangs on to the spot, and that gives Max Twigg in that next Porsche a great run up the mountain, and Quinn has got away again. So the Aston on the run up Mountain Straight, that's where it's strong.
It definitely helps to have a bit of grunt here, doesn't it? I mean, the straights are long and they're uphill, and you definitely need it.
We talk so much about V8 supercars across the top, but with the downforce and the aerodynamics of these cars, the rear engine, for example, of the Porsche, they've got to be just as fast, if not quicker, across the top.
Well, I think, you know, for sure they're going to be handling probably that little bit better. They probably lack that little bit of grunt, you know, compared to the V8 cars, but certainly handling-wise across the top would be an absolute joy to drive.
And then the road disappears here. It's stolen away from you.
It certainly feels like that in a V8, I can tell you.
Great new shot this year, which really shows you just how narrow it is through this part of the circuit, and how if you get it wrong, it's a pinball machine.
It is. I mean, you come down the top there through Skyline and through the Dipper, and you actually feel like you're in a street circuit, you know, because the walls are so close. There's no green grass either side, you know.
There's green grass here, though.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
No problem there for Tony Quinn. The Aston Martin is pulling away. This is the penultimate round of the VODKA Australian GT Championship. The final round is with the V8 Supercars at Sandown in November, which that's a circuit really well suited to a lot of these cars. There's the Lamborghini of Kevin Weeks, the Superlot car just in the background, but David Wall is close here in the Porsche, but just doesn't have the pace in the right areas.
No, he's just, the gap seems to just go away from him, and then he gets close and he's just not close enough.
Of course, in this category, it's all about parity, and there are reference lap times, and for the outright cars, it's 2 minutes 10. Go faster than that, and you'll find yourself with some more weight, with some less revs, with an increased ride height. There's a range of different areas. So,
well, they're doing 13s at the moment, so there's no fear of that now.
Exactly. They're a bit too busy racing one another. But that's the great thing about this class. It's got to be so hard to keep sports car racing and GT racing on an even keel with all this variety.
It is. I mean, we have that issue in America with our series. You know, we have lots of different manufacturers, you know, so different engines. Obviously, guys are on different tyre manufacturers as well, which makes it difficult to know what sort of rules and regulations to give everyone to get nice, close racing. You know, this year we had P2 and P1 combined, and there's a big speed differential on the straights, and yet on the lap times we were pretty even. So it made some pretty interesting racing for us, because we're in essentially a P2 car. And
you'll notice too on our lap race leaderboard that the silver numbers are the GT Challenge cars and the red numbers are the GT production numbers. And leading the way in production, Paul Freestone has the Corvette 11th overall, which is a very, very handy performance. Shane Smolin leads the Challenge category. He sits 16th overall. Dropping back off the top of the mountain. They pull that ground back on Tony Quinn in the Aston Martin.
It's just pulling away a little bit more on the straights and just giving him that buffer now, isn't he? Where he goes across the top of the mountain, and the gap is still fairly big now.
Dean Grant, the Mosler. They had no power steering in this car in race 1 earlier on in the day.
That's not good.
which was won by Tony Quinn. No, never
No.
good. Means you're earning your money, though.
Definitely.
Great shot. Down to the chase.
That's a super shot, isn't it?
Does it look scary now that you see it like this than from where you sit?
No, it's more scarier actually where I sit.
We'll leave you to deal
Yeah,
with that.
right, yeah.
Tony Quinn, fastest to the second sector on this lap. So he's just managing to hold the margin. And that time through, 2 minutes 12.85, new fastest lap of the race. Let's jump aboard this Mosler MT900 GT3. We've seen Moslers at the mountain before in the 24-hour race that you came and ran in earlier on this decade. But let's have a little bit of a listen here. You'll notice too, using the paddle shift, not the actual sequential gearbox.
Great sound, eh?
It does look very, very weird though, that gear shift moving without him touching it.
Well, I suppose if your paddle shift's not working, you can just go manually, which is, it's a good idea in a long race.
Looking back at Theo Konduris there, and you can just hear waiting for the throttle, applying it gently, and then getting balance across this top of the mountain.
Yeah, that doesn't look bad, does it? I mean, it looks like a fairly well-balanced car, and as he went over the, coming out of the cutting, you turn right, you go over those bumps, it looked like it really was quite nice over that section of the track. Such a tricky corner this through here. People go on about the corkscrew up in Laguna Seca in America, but everyone says, "Oh, what do you think of that?" I says, "Nothing like the Dipper."
You are one of our best racing ambassadors. Keep on fighting that fight too.
Yeah.
Got to prove to the Americans that we have it a little bit better here. Dean's one of the, I guess, the gentleman drivers of the series. Very, very handy steerer though. He's done a lot of Porsche racing. He's a publican when it comes to by trade. Owns a lot of pubs throughout Victoria and the like. But when he gets in a race car, he's a pretty handy driver. 6th at the moment on the road. And coming into this weekend.
That's what's great about the championship, isn't it? I mean, you've got people, enthusiasts who want to go out and race. And here he is at Bathurst, the best track probably in the world, and it's just fantastic to see.
Comes in this weekend 3rd in the championship. David Wall is the leader by 18.5 points from Peter Hackett, who we must mention started from the rear of grid in this race. He's got the Lamborghini moving. It's up to 12th overall, but that will help David Wall in terms of the championship. Up front, Tony Quinn still leads the way. The margin, 2.2 seconds.